Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are going straight into the deep end of heavy industry, a place where, operational risk meets some really monumental financial stakes. We're talking about that periodic necessity of halting massive industrial production facilities. It's the whole alphabet soup known as STOPS, based on a white paper by E.J. Lister, founder and chairman of iAPSCC, the International Association of Planning, Scheduling, Controls, and Coordination.
Right, shutdowns, turnarounds, outages, and pit stops.
Exactly.
And if you're looking to get a really detailed, fast-track understanding of operational efficiency and, well, more importantly, how you can dramatically improve the financial performance of your fixed assets, this is the deep dive for you.
Yeah, because these scheduled pauses, they're non-negotiable for safety and integrity, but they are also some of the biggest financial risks an organization can face, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So our mission today is to unpack a key piece of research, this white paper called Industrial Production Stops for Improved Balance Sheet Performance. The goal is strategic. We want to find out how leading manufacturers are actually managing to measure and, maximize the value they get for every single dollar they spend during these intense events. We're looking for that high-earn, low-burn sweet spot.
And we have to start with the shocking financial reality, the initial data point that just frames the entire problem.
Okay.
When a manufacturer deliberately stops production, they start bleeding operating capital instantly.
Okay, so bleeding money. The paper frames this as money being burned, right?
Yeah.
Why that term specifically?
Because unlike a typical capital project, it's not immediately generating a measurable return. It's an expense to maintain and mitigate risk. It's necessary, but it feels like you're just burning cash to stand still.
Okay, let's unpack that burn then. What is the actual, observed efficiency out there in the field? Because the research suggests the leakage is...
Oh, it's severe.
It's more than severe. It's a systemic problem.
Yeah.
Data suggests the measurable value you get for each operating dollar you put out during the execution phase, it often falls below 50 cents.
Wait. Below 50 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking about an efficiency band of between 33 and 55 cents on the dollar. It depends on the company, the complexity, but that's the range.
33 cents. So just to be clear, at the low end, for every dollar they spend on payroll, on equipment, on a contractor's time, they're only getting 33 cents of actual, measurable, completed work done.
That's it. That's the inefficiency. And it's a direct drain on the P&L.
Immense drain.
Immense. And the cost just compounds. It's not just the wasted labor. These shortfalls, they lead to schedule delays.
Right.
And those delays push out the plant's recommissioning, the ramp up. That critical moment when they start making product again, any delay there just destabilizes the quarterly balance sheet. It hurts shareholder confidence. It can even affect the share price.
So you pay twice, first in the wasted dollar and then in the lost revenue.
You've got it.
Okay, so if we're going to close that gap, if we want to push that return up towards, say, 80 cents, we have to start by getting the language straight. A stop isn't just a stop.
Not at all. We have to distinguish between the four main types. They have totally different drivers, different regulatory hooks, and, crucially, different financial implications. OPEX versus CAPEX.
Exactly. Understanding the driver dictates the whole game. The budget, the timeline, the scope. So let's start with the basic one, the shutdown. What defines it?
A shutdown is all about internal process integrity. It's non-regulatory, so no government agency is mandating it. It can be scheduled, but often it's unscheduled.
It's a reaction to something.
It's corrective action. Fixing an immediate process issue, like a safety concern or some specialized cleaning, these are almost always OPEX-driven, part of routine maintenance.
Got it. Then we have the turnaround. This one feels much bigger, tied to the law.
That is the key distinction, yes. A turnaround is driven by asset integrity and compliance. It is strictly regulatory.
Mandated.
Mandated by law or by the insurance underwriters, just for the facility to legally operate. They're always scheduled, sometimes years in advance, because they are massive, comprehensive overhauls.
And the budget for that?
Can be OPEX, could be CAPEX if you're replacing big equipment, or sometimes it gets its own category called TAREX, turnaround expense. They're basically the fixed cost of staying in.
Okay, so shutdown is an operational fix. Turnaround is a legal mandate. Where does the outage fit in?
An outage is more about mechanical integrity. Think reliability, electrical, instrumentation. It can be scheduled or unscheduled, and it's usually about restoring reliability or availability.
Or making an improvement.
Yes, exactly. You might be mitigating a risk that's developing or enhancing the asset, like a debottlenecking project. It often comes right from the reliability team.
Which leaves us with the newcomer, the pit stop. This sounds like a strategic innovation, an attempt to avoid those huge turnaround costs.
It's absolutely the innovative response. A pit stop is a highly scheduled, very intense, but short-duration maintenance campaign.
Like a surgical strike.
A perfect description. You usually see them in multi-line facilities where you can operate at reduced rates. The entire goal is to alleviate scope and risk for the next major STO. And what's amazing is the duration. They're done incredibly fast, typically in less than 7 days.
Less than a week. So you're minimizing lost production.
Hugely. The paper highlights that strategically using pit stops provides millions in savings over a long-range, say, 5 to 15-year plan. You keep production online and chip away at scope creep. It's a massive win.
Okay, yeah, that gives us the vocabulary. So let's pivot to the core philosophy, achieving this low burn, high earn.
Right, and the white paper lays out this organizational mission that really has to be the mantra for everyone involved.
What is it?
Without compromising safety or quality, the mission is to execute each SSTOP with the goal of receiving maximum value for dollars burned in the shortest time frame with the fewest number of resources.
That's a powerful statement. But if companies are running at, 33 to 55 cents on the dollar, what's missing? What's the foundational piece they don't have?
It's the framework. It's the whole infrastructure. You need strategic planning, consistent processes, detailed procedures, real-time data, and proven formulas and tech, and none of it, absolutely none of it, works without competent people.
I found the note on that really telling. The paper suggests companies often just assume their in-house teams can handle a $200 million 6-week-long pressure cooker?
And that assumption is one of the biggest risks you can take. SDO management is a very specialized skill set. It's not the same as day-to-day operations.
So what's the fix?
You have to be honest about your capabilities up front. It often means bringing in external subject matter experts, getting specialized training, maybe some coaching, to build a truly competent SSTOP management office.
Okay, so we have the mission, we have the team, now measurement. How do we scientifically track that a dollar spent is actually generating a dollar of value?
You have to zero in on resource efficiency during the physical work.
Yeah.
The value you get is directly tied to the effectiveness of your trades, your contractors, your operators.
And indirectly?
Indirectly, it's about materials control. And, this is critical, the ratio of your overhead, your supervision, logistics, planning teams.
And this all boils down to one key metric.
Precisely. The master metric is tool time efficiency.
Okay, define that for us.
It's the actual time in which your direct resources, the people with the wrenches and welding torches, are actively earning % complete against the schedule.
The paper gives a target number. The industry benchmark for best practice is 55%. And honestly, that sounds like a failing grade in manufacturing. Why isn't it 75%?
That's the essential misconception, and it's a great question. That 55% figure doesn't mean the other 45% is just wasted time or, people being lazy.
Right.
It's a realistic target because it accounts for legitimate, mandated, non-productive time that's required for safety and logistics.
So walk us through that 45%. What's in there?
Okay, so you have mandatory safety briefings, the toolbox talks, you have time spent waiting for permits, you have the job safety analysis, and then there's just the walking time across a massive industrial site.
The windshield time, they call it.
Exactly, just getting from the war room to the job site. Then you have breaks, wash-up time, all non-negotiable parts of safe, compliant work.
Okay, so it's not inefficiency, it's logistical friction and mandated safety. If you tried to push that to 75%, you'd probably be cutting corners on safety.
You'd be introducing massive risk, and other factors chew into that time too. The height of the work, the complexity, working in confined spaces, and the huge complexity of simultaneous operations.
Right, can't have everyone working on top of each other.
You can't have 1,500 people working on a project without mandated periods where some are waiting safely for others to clear an area. The 55% benchmark recognizes that friction.
That is a vital clarification. So the goal is to manage that 45% of friction time so the productive 55% is truly productive. Which brings us to the project controls team and their formulas.
Yes, their role is paramount. And the primary tool they use is the PF, or the performance formula.
Okay, lay it out for us. What is it measuring?
The formula is PF, performance, equals EV, earned value, % complete, over PV, planned value, multiplied by EV over AV, actual value, cost.
Let's break that down. EV, PV, AV.
EV is earned value, the percent of physical work you've completed in dollars. PV is planned value, so what you budgeted for that work. And AV is actual value, what you actually spent.
So what's the formula really telling you?
It's telling management how well the execution is sticking to the plan. And here's the critical part. In the absence of an applied productivity factor, your actual value will always be higher than what you planned and earned. If your PF is below 1.0, you are bleeding money. It's the ultimate control metric.
Okay, that brings up the other term, the productivity factor, or uppercase PF. How's that different from the performance formula, the P lowercase f?
The productivity factor, PF, is an adjustment you make during scheduling, not planning, scheduling. You take your benchmark estimate and you apply this PF to account for all that legitimate non-productive time we just talked about.
Ah, so you bake the friction in from the start.
You have to. If you don't, your schedule is a fantasy, your budget is wrong, and your PF performance will look terrible no matter what.
So we have the controls. Let's look at the proactive strategies. The paper calls out Agile Scheduling Methodology, ASM, as the most important control mechanism. Why is that better than a static schedule?
Because a static schedule is a beautiful theory that just collapses the second it hits reality. ASM is adaptive. It continuously monitors the burn, the earn, the resource utilization in near real time.
So you can react.
You can react intelligently. The project controls team can level resources, shift work based on what's actually happening. If a crane breaks down, ASM lets you redeploy those resources to the next priority activity without delay. That control is how you get from 55 to 80 cents on the dollar.
Makes perfect sense. And where is all this real-time decision-making happening?
It's happening in the war rooms. This isn't just a room with monitors. It's a collaborative structure where all the key players, operations, maintenance, engineering, project controls, are all working together, shoulder to shoulder, in one place.
So decisions get made fast.
Instantly. It eliminates that windshield time for managers and ensures everyone is aligned.
And that alignment has to start right at the beginning, with what work is even necessary.
Absolutely. You can't be efficient if you're doing unnecessary work. You need a risk-based scope review, a quantifiable methodology to define exactly the scope needed for asset integrity and nothing more.
Scope creep.
It's a budget killer. It torpedoes the whole thing before you even start.
And one last factor, the one that governs the whole process, contracting strategies. How much leverage is there in the contract type?
A huge amount. Performance can be massively helped or hindered by whether you choose time and material, lump sum, unit rate, or something else. A lump sum shifts risk to the contractor, but they'll fight every change. A target reimbursable contract is flexible, but you need incredible controls.
So it's about aligning the contract incentives with your efficiency goals.
Precisely.
This brings us to the financial conclusion. We've talked controls, now let's talk investment. Where should the money be strategically invested?
The focus has to shift from just controlling costs during the burn to making a value investment during planning. The first target should be aiming for a return of greater than $1 for every dollar you invest in planning.
So a dollar spent in planning saves you more than a dollar later.
Way more. That planning investment comes back immediately through safe, reliable execution, and more importantly, through maximized asset availability between the big events.
And then, during the execution itself, the target for the money being burned.
You have to aim for the highest value burn. The target is greater than 80 cents for each dollar spent. Moving from 55 cents to 80 is a massive leap, but it's entirely achievable with the controls we've discussed. DSM, war rooms, rigorous formulas.
So the paper's final word for the executive is that cost control isn't really the solution.
That's the core takeaway. Cost is an outcome. You can't control it directly. It's the result of how well you identified the scope, how realistic your plan was, and how efficient your resources were. You focus on the process and the people, and the cost improvement follows.
So, to summarize our deep dive today, the financial hit from these stops is huge, with execution efficiency often delivering value below 50 cents on the dollar.
And to get to that high or no burn profile, you need intense strategic planning. You need clear metrics like that 55% tool time efficiency benchmark, and you need sophisticated adaptive tools like ASM and that governing PF formula.
The ultimate goal for any facility should be crystal clear. Execute the necessary scope safely, with quality, in the shortest time, at the lowest risk, with the fewest resources, and with a measurable value contribution back to the business.
The path forward, according to the research, is to invest. Invest in competency training and implementing new methodologies and technology, and in fostering that collaborative think tank culture to really lift performance.
Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought for you to consider. If maximizing resource utilization and having sophisticated control is the absolute key to minimizing that burn and climbing toward that 80-cent return, what single organizational capability is it? Your planning, your technology like ASM, or your workforce competency? What one thing presents the greatest leverage point for your business right now to make that critical leap from 55 to 0.80?
Think about where your dollars are going. For example, invested in planning, materials, direct tool time performance, and most importantly, reliability and process availability, throughput, or spending to mitigate risk, and lastly, burning on non-productive time, indirect support, and/or overhead, and what organizational gap is the root cause. That's where you have to invest.
That's it for the deep dive. We hope this analysis gives you the strategic insight to start capturing that massive lost value. Thanks to E.J. Lister for his white paper submission. Be sure to visit iapscc.com to learn more, and we'll see you next time.